All right, here we go. We are firing it off for another great time, talking with some of my favorite people about one of my favorite things in a state that has warm. So I'm very happy. Good evening, guys. I am Dan Caskey, or Coach Dan, with TriDot, and super excited to be part of the Clash Miami RaceCon webinar here. I've got alongside me two great guys, and we're going to go through this evening and give you a good time getting ready for an amazing set of events. It is going to be a full weekend. This PowerPoint we had to trim it down. There's so much cool stuff happening. So what we're going to do tonight is just want you to just sit back, get your favorite recovery beverage ready. You're going to want to take some notes, get your questions and write them down, and then learn about this full weekend of excitement. The athlete guide, it will be available, and some of it I think is already available. Andre will go over that on where we can do that. What we're going to do tonight is walk through kind of the phase that you're in. Most of our athletes are here in race prep, and they'll be doing some rehearsals as we get ready, reviewing your race X to know what you should be executing at your race. We'll cover the things that you need to know about getting to a triathlon and specifics about getting to this Miami event. And then we've got Andre to start laying out the weekend of events. And man, I'm telling you, the things that are happening, your head will spin, but we'll keep you straight in knowing what you need to know. We'll go over each individual race on a specific level so you can know what to expect from this great event, and we'll get it done. Well, I want to introduce with me tonight, I have my co-presenter and good friend, and he's actually my coach, Jeff Rains. He's a master coach with TriDot. He helps our business team by bringing coaches to TriDot and helping them success. He uses his master in physiology on the pool, the swim, the bike, and he's been in it for a long time. He's recently a content expert with the Ironman U training series. So that's and he has been to Daytona and Miami several times, right, Jeff?
Absolutely. Daytona 3 times and Miami once. So, man, I love Clash and everything that they stand for and how organized and just they're amazing events. I just can't wait to dive deeper and hear more from Andre tonight.
Absolutely. And just a little about me. You guys know me. I'm the director of growth programs at TriDot, as well as Coach Dan for my athletes on the pool deck, on the courses out there as well. Love working with the folks who come to these events, even the college kids who are on their way to it. Some of our new programs we're doing. But this is a family event for me. Here's a photo of me and my daughter when she did this race. That's a Daytona photo, but love these Clash events, always well put together. And with us to give us the expert insights is Andre Lepar. He is the man who's making these things happen. Now I know he's got a huge team with him, and he'll be one of the first to share about that. But he's here going to tell us a lot tonight, and he's probably seen more in triathlon and forgotten more about it than I know. So welcome, Andre.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Always great getting together with you guys in TriDot. We have a lot of interesting things in store in Miami this year. And yeah, as you said, I've been in triathlon as an athlete since '98. I've got a streak of doing at least one race a year since then, from full Ironman half down to sprints. Just keeping my feet wet and just excited to share the passion and the stoke with everybody else coming to race with us in Miami.
Yeah, love kicking the season off this way too. All right, so let's get into race weekend. It's coming up. It's just 4 weeks away. It really will start actually on Wednesday because we're going to be down there for endurance exchange with USAT, coaches, race directors, and people. So we'll be down there with you. But then we kick off the race weekend with the draft legal event, then the America's Triathlon Cup. That is amazing. And the Red Line Relay. That'll be happening Friday. Now we're going to go into each of these a little bit more. Saturday, we'll be kicking it off with the Collegiate National Championships, Club Championships, Olympic, and the mixed relay. And then Sunday is a full day of racing. 6:30 in the morning, we'll be getting this fired off. We've got the triathlon, the relays, the aqua bikes for the various distances, and that swim. Boy, it's gonna be a busy weekend. Well, speaking of being busy, Jeff, you've got your athletes pretty busy for this, and I know we're preparing right now as we go into it, thinking about 4 weeks out. What should our athletes be? Where should they be at? Where should their headspace be as they're preparing, a month out of a race? early season race in a, we'll call it short course for this purpose of this conversation?
Yeah, the 4 week out mark, there's not a ton of fitness to be gained. We're just dotting the I's, crossing the T's, a little bit of a race prep. Some of the workouts that our TriDot athletes will see, will get a little bit more race specific, race pace strategy. And then as you get closer and closer to race week, 4 weeks out, you're going to see in your race X, your race day strategies really getting pinpointed there, and you can kind of see it there in the background. But just a quick beauty of kind of what our athletes are going to see in their race X is each distance you can customize. And especially the Miami distance, a little bit unique here. And I know that Andre will be talking a little bit about that, but you can customize each distance. And RaceX runs hundreds of scenarios, swim, bike, and run, to get you across the finish line in the absolute fastest finish time possible. And then accommodates the 3 disciplines inside of those to pace perfectly. So it's just really cool to see that the developmental phase, we call it, and then you switch over to race prep phase, which everybody's in now. Start seeing a little bit of race rehearsals and things like that. So I'm excited for all of our athletes, and can't wait.
Yeah.
And Jeff, you say perfect phrase, developmental phase, right? And that's what a lot of feedback we took from athletes, why we weren't doing the middle distances. March is early in the season for a lot of folks. And, they might not be quite as fit as they want to be. They haven't been able to bike or run outside for as long as they would have liked. So this Miami distance, 1 mile, 30-mile bike, and 9-mile run it's a really good early season fitness test, but without really taxing the systems, right? So you can kind of see where you are and lay out the rest of your season. And on the flip side, for some of the athletes that have been racing short their whole life and they're thinking about stepping up,
Stretching it
this
out.
is kind of that nice step and a half, and then you can go the rest of the way later in the season. You got some more time.
Yeah, love it. Now, this great stepping stool, and with all these things going on, it's a great to learn and to dig in. And there's so much about triathlon, short, long, and interesting. And Jeff is not only one of our great coaches, but he's also a frequent guest on the TriDot podcast. And if you haven't heard it, we record this and release it every week. It's been valuable to put out to the athletes. We just did a couple of specials on getting your body ready for short course and truly knowing what to do. If you do want to jump that and go long course, what's the time commitment? What's the physical commitment like? So we've got a ton of topics on there for you to jump in. And so we always just kind of like plug that for some of those episodes for great resources. And again, great something to look into as you're on your training rides. Okay, Jeff mentioned our race rehearsals. So what are we trying to do? Typically at the 2 week and 4 week out, we want to do something that mimics race conditions, right? Want to get up, go to bed on time, get up at the same time, eat the same thing, put on the same kit, get on the bike. If you've got a pool that you can try, mimic those situations and go through the execution, right? You need to do it in your mind and do it in real life to see what's going to go wrong. You'd much rather have an issue come up with your hydration, your fueling, or how you're going to carry something on a race preparation at home where you could repeat it again and try again in 2 weeks than you did on race day. So we always encourage looking at your perfect pacing, go out there and getting it done, dial that nutrition in. Hopefully you've been doing it. It's also a good time to get those batteries charged. Typically you don't have to often charge if you got Di2 or something on your bike. They don't need to be charged often, but this is a great time to recharge it. It's a great time to order those batteries, making sure you're packing that packing list as well. Jeff, tell us about a little bit the taper. Short course, but hey, every triathlete loves and hates a taper, don't they?
Yeah, triathlete and taper, so watch out. Mood swings and all else. No, there's not a ton of taper for short course. The good thing is the hay's pretty much in the barn at this kind of 4 week out. We're focusing on those race rehearsals, but you want to prime that engine, right? And the taper period is misconceptualized, if that's a word. And so you still want to keep the quality, especially those last 2 weeks. Maybe you're done with race rehearsal 2, you're kind of 2 weeks out. You're still going to work out every day. If you work out every day, you're going to work out every day. You're still going to have a little bit of quality, speed work, intensity inside of those sessions, just not quite as much. And it will depend a little bit on your goals and background and things like that. But typically anywhere from 10 to 20 10 to 30%, you may taper down the duration and taper down the intensity, but you're still going to mirror the same training that you've kind of been doing all along. But yeah, I will say with your rehearsals, I got to plug RaceX in just one more time, because like Andre said, it's early season, right? There's still snow on the ground for a lot of people, and they're going to go out to Miami. It's going to be a little bit warmer, probably a little bit more humid, maybe probably not even wetsuit legal, right, for some of these swims and things like that. And so what you can do is RaceX knows the environment of Miami and what it's going to be that weekend, the temperature, humidity, and all that. But what it can do is you can set it to your home location, and it will adjust all of your race day pacing strategies on your current environment at home. And so you can actually rehearse at the same effort that you would in Miami in different conditions. So it's pretty cool. And so just all of those things you're going to want to really be intentional with. And like Dan said, with your rehearsals, try to make everything exactly like race day.
Absolutely. And what I like to tell my athletes is that clock starts to tick down on your weekly hours of training. Your sleep should tick up a little bit, right? So again, we're coming into a fairly short timeline here. I know a lot of our college guys are probably headed to Claremont, and so they're going to be racing this weekend. And then so they'll have 4 weeks, spring breaks probably in there if you're in college. So keep your livers in good shape, those kind of things. But we want to get you ready for this. So you're going to need some sleep. You don't need to be up all night all the time to get yourself prepped. All right. Well, there's always the thing to get to the race. Lots to consider, lots of ways and places to get here. I love packing early. I'm a big fan. We have a tote of the things that go and a list that's on it. And we just, the tote sits over in the corner of the room and you start, oh, I need to take that. Let me just go ahead and throw it in right now. And then put it in there. Like I take my race day nutrition that I know I'm going to use. That goes in there first. So that way I train for the next 4 weeks with what's left so that if I run out, I already have protected my race day stuff. So getting those things ready. Do you have any other traveling tips? I know when you come from Texas. So tell us a little bit about what it takes to travel when you got an airplane involved.
Oh gosh, I know there's a lot. I mean, the big things, put an air tag on your bike, just so you know where it's at all times in case something happens. Don't panic. You're going to get there early, and so just know that. But yeah, I would really make sure that one, you know how you're going to take apart your bike and travel with it, and then put those power meters and batteries in travel mode. That can mess things up a little bit. So take all those Di2 batteries and things off. Put them in a safe place. I wouldn't put all of your materials, all of your race day stuff in that bike box. I know it's kind of easy to have your suitcase over here to the side with the clothes and all those things, and then your bike box, put as much race day stuff in there. But if for some reason something did happen to your bike, you wouldn't want to be out every single race day item that you have. So just start, like Dan said, laying things out. Know what's going to be on race day, know what's going to go in each suitcase, things like that.
Love it. Yeah. And travel's always important, whether you're coming a short distance or you're like me, you're jumping in the RV and you're headed down 95 to Miami. There's a lot of ways to get there. Take your time, stay hydrated, avoid Buc-ee's is on the way. There's like 17 of them on the way down there now. A lot of junk in that, good food. So maybe save it for the way back. But think about what you're going to eat and hydration as a good way to get down there.
And as you guys said, travel, there's a ton of options. Our website, if you go under races, we have Miami for the age group side, collegiate for the collegiate side. It's not hugely optimized for mobile viewing, so you have to scroll down, but I promise you all the info. We have our hotel partners with discounted rate, info on, if you want to rent an RV and stay on property, which is amazing. You're, a short 5-minute walk from transition, 7 minutes to swim start. Great way to take in the whole atmosphere. All that stuff is listed on our website. It's an easy place to get in and out. Miami Airport's 40 minutes away, just a couple exits down the highway there. So really easy to get in. Look it up on our website. If you have any questions or you guys are coming across any issues with travel or where to stay, what to do, just let us know. Reach out to us. We are happy to help, and really looking forward to hosting everybody in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, it's going to be it's a beautiful place to be right there on your gateway to the Keys. And the hospitality these folks provide. If you have not been part of a Clash family event before, you are just going to feel like you're at home. They take care of you and really roll out the red carpet, which we'll get into in just a few minutes. Now, Jeff mentioned this, but this is the weather graph for what's going to be happening in Miami. So for those of us that it was 30 today, you might be in for a shock. So prepare to be hot, not just warm, but hot for some of us. Now, what's that going to do for the water temperature, Andre? What's your water temperature typically like for this event? And then now that we're at the end of the month.
Well, so typically we've not had a wetsuit swim at this event ever, which is important to point out. And this event has traditionally been 2 weeks earlier in the calendar. NASCAR flip-flopped their NASCAR Cup Series, so the NASCAR Cup race is the weekend before us. Kind of threw some stuff, so we're later in the calendar than normal, which is important to note. And if you look at that March 31st date, the high 81, yes, you want to look at that, but also look at the low. Low is 68. It's going to be warm at the start as well. So, you want to make sure you're prepared from this from the morning on. And then, knowing that the run course is on the speedway, it's asphalt, it's going to be warm. We'll go through some measures later, how we're going to keep all the athletes cool, but mentally prepare yourself from that, especially if you're coming from up north. You want to be ready for it's hot and sunny, baby. It's Florida. It's Miami.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful, hot and sweaty time. Always something to consider. So already want to break out some summertime tips early on. Jeff, walk us through a few of the tips that you're going to be telling your athletes about racing in hot weather.
Yeah, and with 4 weeks out, guys, I would be weighing yourselves before and after some of these weekend rides or these hard sessions, just kind of knowing how many fluid ounces you may want to adjust a little bit hour per hour out there on race day. But definitely start hydrating like Dan's doing, right? I got mine right here, right? I'd start now. I'd keep that electrolyte beverage on hand. But yeah, really have a plan, and really the whole race week, I'd start adding another 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium. Just today, nothing crazy. You don't just need to hammer a whole bunch of electrolyte beverages, but definitely have a plan and know maybe how many grams of carbs per hour average you're going to average, out there on the day, and how many fluid ounces and milligrams of sodium that you're going to have in those bottles. You're going to have to be intentional there. You're going to have a plan. Like Andre said, it might be a little bit of a shock. I remember I live in Texas. It's arguably a lot similar to Florida in weather, and I remember racing out there early March, and it got me. I mean, and I live in a humid state, so I wish I would have hydrated a little bit better the week of the race, and especially during the travel period. So on that plane or on the highway, guys, keep sipping. And especially race morning. Have that bottle with you all morning. It's easy to let time slip away from you, and you get behind there.
Yeah, have a plan, execute the plan. That's what we're going to talk about with our athletes. All right, so we got to get there. Once they find themselves in the beautiful Miami Speedway, there's a lot to do. Can you just walk us through, Andre, who's checking in when, where? There's going to be a lot of moving parts. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I put in here, let's be honest, guys, we have a lot of events going on. We have USA Triathlon Collegiate Club Nationals, and the three events that encapsulates. So draft legal, Olympic distance, non-draft, and mixed relay. We have a Continental Cup going on. So that's one step down from a World Cup. So we're going to have Olympians and Olympic medalists on the start line racing Friday, which is great. We've got Red Line Relay, which is a bike-only event taking place Friday evening on the track. It's like NASCAR on bikes. And then we have our age group events on Sunday. We have the sprint, the Miami distance, the 1 mile swim. So instead of completely bogging down this slide with every individual time on there, please just go to our website. It's on there. Our athlete guides will be up here in the next week. But the schedule is posted. It's a PDF. Again, you got to scroll down because there's a lot of things, a lot of different course maps for the races going on, travel info. But the schedule is on there. Click it. It's a PDF. Open it up. We kind of have it color coded based on what event you're doing, so you can see the packet pickup times, the bike check-in times, the bike checkout times, the athlete food service times, based on the different events you're doing. So instead of, as I said, bogging this down, and this slide kind of gives you an idea of what's happening. So Friday, we have the draft legal collegiate nationals. So each team gets to put up 2 athletes. Draft legal, Olympic format, right? So it's the field sizes are capped at 75 males, 75 females. So we're doing females are 7:15, males are 8:45. So Very clean, kind of segmented races. And after that, we're going into the Continental Cup, which is for elites. We have Gwen Jorgensen's going to be coming down the race. Yeah, it's 2016 Olympic gold medalist is going to be racing. Seth Ryder is going to be on the start line. He's got a silver medal from the mixed relay from Paris just a few months ago. So some of the types of athletes you're going to be able to see racing Friday morning. And then Friday evening, we have our red line relay, bike race on the track. Saturday is the kind of the big daddy race for the collegiates, which is the non-drafting Olympic distance race. We'll have about 1,000 college kids and close to 70 schools represented. I mean, it's going to be a really big deal going on. And then Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock, we have the mixed relay. So those who aren't familiar, mixed relay is swim, bike, run for each of the 4 members of the team. So it's a super duper sprint, 300-meter swim. It's a 2.5 mile bike and a 1 kilometer, just over a half-mile run. So it's about 15 to 20 minutes of a triathlon for each individual, and it's going to be male, female, male, female. So 4 members of a team, super fast action. The handoffs in between, run for the next athlete to start their swim. So really cool engagement. And then Sunday is the age group racing. We have Miami distance, which is 1 mile, 30 mile, 8 mile, which is a great early season hit out for those looking to go long. We have the sprint triathlon. And also part of our initiatives with the USA Triathlon, we're a qualifier for their para development series towards nationals. So we're going to have para athletes out there racing with you as well. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone in the spectrum of what is triathlon. Super excited for it, but please look at the schedule. That's the best word of advice I can give you. It's a little dizzying for us, and we're in it every day, but just give it a quick glance. Make sure you know when to check out, get your packet picked up, and check your bike in, what you're going to want to do the day before. And we're really excited to see it. We've got a great food truck lineup. We got a beer garden going on, fireworks at the start. You guys who have done Clash events, you guys know we do it right. So that's the kind of high level overview. And then I'll let, depending on which races you all are doing, dig into your specific start time and packet pickups and all that.
I will put a link. We're going to send a recap of this for those that are joining us live. We'll send it in your email tomorrow. We'll send a recap video so you can share it with your friends who didn't get a chance to see it live, and they can watch it. But I'll send a link directly to that PDF, so that'll make it easy for them to grab. Because remember, if you're not the responsible one, find your responsible friend and give it to them. Right? That's what having a Sherpa is all about. All right, so we've talked about a lot for this big weekend on this beautiful track. Let's dig in a little bit deeper on each one of these, some nuances that we need to point out as they're doing specific races here. So draft legal and jump us. I think you already covered this a little bit. Anything else you want to say about Friday's action?
Friday's action will not touch on the majority of athletes that may be listening to this podcast. Those are, you have to be nominated and eligible for the collegiate draft legal. So the coaches and the conferences are selecting which athletes are making it to that start line. The America's Triathlon Cup, that's for North America, South America, and everything in between. But the elite athletes making their way to the start line have to go through their national federation for nomination to make that start line. Again,
some good money on that one too.
Guys, I love you guys, but the 3 of us are not going to line up next to an Olympian and have any shot at. So it's a great day to come out and see some just amazing aspirational triathlon racing. And then Red Line Relay, that's open. That's for the public. You guys sign up a team. Actually, our owner, Bill Christie, he put up we just announced it last week, a $3,000 prize purse to the first place team. It's a 2-hour bike race. You get 2 people from your team on track at a given time. The most amount of laps you can do of Miami Speedway in 2 hours. Team with most laps wins, $3,000. So you can literally put your money where your mouth is. And in this case, if you ain't first, you last.
Yeah, love it. All right. So that'll be Friday. Lot to see and spectate. And there's some great viewing angles, just like at every Clash event. There's a great place to see it. You can still put your feet up. the action will be happening. So as you're coming into town, take a look at that. Well, we wanted to kind of give you the layout here as well. Walk us through this map and the parking orientation here we're taking a look at.
So it looks far. I mean, the track is, those have done Daytona, maybe not Miami. It's not as huge, but that green lot, which is on the north side of the speedway, will be forcing everybody, PD will force everybody in there race mornings to park. From there, it's about a 15-minute walk onto the speedway complex and through the tunnel, which takes you into the infield. The infield is where Expo is, packet pickup, transition, how you get to the swim start. So, you know, you want to factor in time to park and about a 15-minute walk to come into the venue, right? Super straightforward. We unfortunately don't have enough space on the infield to accommodate parking everyone. So this is the route we take. Again, it's super smooth and easy on race morning, but that's why we encourage everybody to rack your bikes and come pick up your packets the day before. When you see something in daylight hours and you're familiar with the surroundings, when you show up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, it's not as daunting, right? You know where you parked, same place like you parked yesterday. You know where to walk. You know how long it takes you. Just cut the stress out from race morning. Come the day before, pick up your packet, take some time in Expo, and I promise you race morning will be that much smoother.
Love it. Yeah, great too. Now, and just one more plug for the RV camping. Where are those guys staying?
So just outside, it would be the kind of top left corner of the track, which is known as turn 1. You can kind of see those lines there right outside of Tallahassee Drive. So that top,
I have a pointer.
top
I'm
left
trying to use
corner
my
of the
pointer.
track.
It's not working.
So if you guys are staying in the RV lot, that's known as the turn 1, the Geico RV lot. And from there, it's maybe 8 to 10 minute walk to get you right into transition and Expo. Super convenient place to stay. You're right there in the action. I wholeheartedly think athletes should stay in RVs, right? You know, Dan, you do it every year. It's just so easy.
Yeah. All right. So we've gotten ourselves there and we're doing some racing. Let's jump into some of these distances here. So how do we go all the way to Sunday? I think I skipped the wrong
Well,
button.
we jumped. We're going to go into too much of the details for the draft legal stuff for Friday.
Yeah, so draft legal, those guys know it. We're going to brief them specifically. The coaches is briefing them, so we can just jump right to Sunday. Got it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so Sunday for age group athletes, right? If you're doing the Miami distance, which is a great early season stretch of the legs, you want to be, transition will be open between 6 and 7 for a 7:15 start. I think sunrise is like 7:13. So we are racing right at sunrise to get you guys out and on the course in the coolest part of the day possible. So you want to arrive early. Remember, you got to park out front and walk yourselves in. If you guys are diligent, rack your bike the day before, it'll make that process race morning that much smoother. We have fixed toilets, right? You guys have been to the speedways. They're used to hosting events with tens of thousands of people. So there's actual toilets that flush that you can use race morning, which is a godsend. We will also have a bank of porta potties over by swim start and by transition, but it's just kind of a nice touch to be able to use comfortable facilities race morning.
Yeah, it is. Excellent. All right. So for our folks that on Sunday are doing the sprint race.
So the sprint race, same thing. Transition is open early for you in the morning. The sprint race does not start until 8:15, which is an hour after the Miami distance. Reason being, we want to get all those. Miami distance is doing a 2-lap swim. We want to get them out of the water before we start that sprint distance race. So you guys are starting a little bit later in the morning. Not going to be a huge issue. You guys are racing shorter, but you will have a clean swim, bike, and run course this way by having you separated from the Miami distance.
Love it. Love it. All right, let's dive into a little bit about the swim. I know we've kind of gone over this on each race course where we'll be out there, but you know, we already mentioned that this is Miami, Florida. You haven't had a race, wetsuit legal event yet in the 70s for sure, and then with the weather being a little later, you're certainly not expecting that. So plan accordingly. You guys will always keep us posted about race water temperatures. Even though it is protected, this tends to, these little lakes get that nice little chop on it. And so making sure you check it out ahead of time is always advised. Jeff, any tips that you have from for the swim for this as they're taking a look at this? Might be their first time in kind of an open, closed water, lagoon lake here.
Yeah, I remember. Well, first of all, you're going to want to get in the water. The practice swim, I'm sure Andre will talk about that. But the practice swim Saturday, get in the water, get a feel for things. I remember it being a little cool that morning. I had a light jacket, but the day heated up very fast. The water was warm. The year I did it, the longer distance. I remember the sprint crew was coming across, so I'm glad to know that there's more time gap after the Miami distance start before the sprint swim starts. So that's awesome. If I'm not mistaken, Andre, they're not going to be allowed in the water before the race Sunday, but they can do the practice swim Saturday. So their only real chance to get a feel for the water and the actual temperature, and there's no current and it's shallow, but you're still going to want to get in on Saturday as best you can, because you will not be able to swim a loop or anything like that Sunday morning. But yeah, get in, get a feel for the water. Yeah.
100%, Jeff, you're right. Whenever you get a chance to get in, feel the water, see the water. The one thing that blows my mind every year, and athletes every year, is the clarity of that water. So it's actually not a shallow lake. There's a hole in the middle. It goes down to about 60 feet, right down to, if you guys know anything about the Florida aquifer, that's where all the spring water bubbles up. Florida's lime rock, porous lime rock. So that water bubbles up in that kind of mid 70s year round, and it is crystal clear, like shockingly clear. It looks like the Caribbean. It gets dark really quick because it gets deep really quick. There's a hole, as I said, about 60 feet in the middle of that lake that goes down pretty quick. The temperature does hold in those, bubbles out about mid 70s, but warms up quickly. The surface temp, it's always been in the upper 70s for race time. Can get some surface chop if it's windy. We unfortunately, because of the size of the lake, we don't have a designated area where you can do swim warm-ups race morning. But if you have a chance to come out Saturday around bike check-in time and pop in and swim, you will be super happy that you did.
Absolutely. So no chip, no dip. Yeah, for sure. And just again, we're laying out the timeline for you. We're not telling you what to do, but we're telling you to show up, support the college race, and then get in the swim, drop your bike off, go to bed, put your feet up.
Yep, and I will add this. Athlete racing, for if you're doing draft legal, if you're in the Continental Cup, we have familiarizations specifically for those athletes as early as Thursday happening. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, look at the schedule. There's swim and bike course familiarizations starting as early as Thursday, taking place on Friday for the collegiate kids, taking place on Saturday for the age groupers, racing on Sunday. So we've provided times for everybody, but it's a delicate dance with the amount of events and races we have going on. So again, just look at the schedule that's posted online and see what coincides to your race. And I promise we've taken care of everything you guys need.
Awesome.
I'll throw in as a sprint crew for Sunday should consider tinted goggles, or if you've been in a pool all winter, bring both pair of goggles and as a just in case. But starting a little bit later in the day, that back half or the second half of the swim could potentially be looking into the sun.
Excellent. All right, good tips there. All right, so we're going to come out of the amazing water. Are we having slipstream there? I got a note. Is slipstream coming in the expo?
Slipstream will not be in expo with us in Miami. They were in Daytona. We do have a number of really great vendors. We'll touch on some of those a little bit later.
After that was the swim wanting to talk to them again. So, okay, we'll see what happens. But speaking of transition, we literally want to roll out the red carpet for you. And boy, do these guys really lay it out. Andre will have to tell us how many miles they put out at Daytona, and it's going to be the same at in Miami. But not only do they lay out the carpet, they raise the ante. So tell us a little bit about your transition sponsor and some of the cool things that happen through transition, and then just the basic logistics of it.
Yeah, so I guess the big thing for majority draft legal transitions are right there by swim exit, just kind of how it works out. For the bulk of athletes doing collegiate Olympic distance and age group athletes doing Miami and sprint distance. You have about a 300-meter run from the swim exit. We have a bridge we put up and over the concrete wall of the racetrack, a wooden bridge that's carpeted to get you up and over, carpet run down towards transition. It's about 300 meters. So just mentally prepare yourself that you got to run from the swim to your bike. I know sometimes athletes, it's time to shoot their heart rate up because they want to sprint and pass as many people. You're not going to win the race there, but you can absolutely blow yourself up getting onto the bike in that short run.
That's for sure.
We do have our great sponsor, Ameriprise Financial. They are doing some really cool awards for the draft legal events. So for the fastest transition times, both for the collegiate draft legal event as well as the America's Triathlon Cup, they're going to be giving away some Wahoo kickers to the winners who have the fastest combined times for T1 and T2 in those races, which is a real cool addition, especially for the collegiate athletes, you know, to be able to leave home literally or with some hardware, right? Not just a medal around their neck, but some training hardware that they can use to help them through next winter. So we're really excited. We appreciate Ameriprise Financial for that support. And again, biggest thing is just age group athletes and collegiates in the Olympic distance. Be ready for that sizable run to transition.
Okay, excellent. All right, bike course, as always, you're going to take care of this. This is a little unique for each of the races. Obviously, Friday, there's going to be contained in the speedway. Is that right?
Yes, so the draft legal races are 100% on the speedway. It's 5 laps of the road course. The mixed relay is also 100% contained on the speedway. But the bulk of athletes that'll be listening to this podcast are going to be doing the sprint, the Miami distance, or that collegiate Olympic distance. So they're all slight different permutations of the same course. So it's a series of out and backs. The biggest thing I can tell people is for South Florida, we are 100% closed to vehicle traffic. That in South Florida for a triathlon is pretty unheard of. So be confident. There's 100% road closure. We use a series of the different roads around the Speedway complex. It's a series of out and backs. So the sprint, you'll be doing 1 lap of that course with the out and backs. The Miami distance, you'll be doing 2 laps. That will get you to 30 miles, 2 laps. And the key decision point is when you're coming back by the Speedway, you'll see signage that says second lap straight, 2 finish right. That's essentially the same format for collegiate Olympic distance. It's a 2-lap course. You can see here the series of out and backs in red. Collegiates will be doing the same thing, but the turnarounds are adjusted ever so slightly to get you back to that 40K or the 24.8 miles. So for all intents and purposes, the courses are the same, but the turnarounds are just a little bit closer for the collegiate Olympic distance. So again, protected, safe. We do have that 1 aid station there, which will be out for the Miami distance and the sprint distance. For the collegiate Olympic distance, there is not a bike course aid station. That's not a typical distance to have an aid station on the bike for those 24.8 miles or the 40K. So make sure you guys have 2 bottles on your bike. It's going to be warm. You probably want 1 with water, 1 with electrolyte, maybe both with electrolyte, depending on your sweat needs. But you got smarter guys from TriDot here that can explain to you what you need to have on your bike.
All right, and then what's our on-course nutrition?
So it's for the Miami distance, we will have water bottles, Gatorade Endurance in the Sport Top bottles, bananas, and base gels.
Okay, excellent. Yep, so they always take good care of you, and I've seen that. They're going to have lots of volunteers. You should feel very safe on this course. In fact, several of one of the athletes I coached was returning back to racing after a car accident, and the confidence of knowing a closed course was helpful for them, and so felt very secure. Tons of cones. You guys must borrow every cone from Florida to put it out there when you do some of these things. So really appreciate the bike course. It's going to be a good opportunity. And again, I actually think it's kind of fun to ride. I previewed it a little bit. So, all right, let's talk about our run course here. Tell us about the Miami run course.
Well, it's Florida, guys. It's flat. That's one key point. The other point that goes with that is there is no shade. We are racing on a racetrack. So be ready for the heat. our race course that we have worked out between the road course and the oval is kind of out and back. It's essentially a 2.5 mile lap, right? Depending on which race you're doing. So the sprint, you're going to do sprint try is going to be 1 lap, and then there's a little point where you have to go to the finish, which is an additional 1/2 mile. If you're doing the Olympic distance course, you're a collegiate athlete, it's going to be a 2-lap course. We'll adjust the turnaround a little bit, but it's going to be, 2.8 miles or so for the lap. And then there's that little leg to get you to the finish chute. So sprint athletes, 1 lap. Collegiate Olympic distance is 2 laps. And then if you're doing the Miami distance on Sunday, you're going to do 3 laps of that, and then that little 1/2 mile to get you to the finish. That's a great graphic right there that shows you essentially what the run course is. It's out and back style, so you'll see your competitors or your friends going opposite of you, which I think makes for great camaraderie out on a race course.
Keeps you motivated.
You can see the little gas icons that we have for the aid stations. The aid stations are double-sided, so they are serving runners in both directions.
Oh,
so you'll have 4 chances for aid on each lap. So that means if you're doing the sprint, 4 aid stations. The
Wow.
Olympic distance, you guys will have 8 chances for aid within 6.2 miles. And then if you are doing the Miami distance, there's 12 chances for aid inside of your 8-mile run. We're also going to have 2 misting stations out on course. So we're really taking it serious to make sure the athletes have a chance to cool off. It's hot in there. I'm not going to lie. The asphalt radiates the heat back. It's part of what it is. It's a great venue for racing. Be prepared for the heat and know that we are taking as many steps as possible to manage the heat on your behalf.
Yeah, especially for those athletes who are thinking about some bigger challenges this summer, maybe longer events. I think this is a perfect opportunity to get out there and push it in the heat and see where your limits are, making sure you're practicing that hydration plan and stuff. And then same on-course nutrition, anything different with
We'll
what you're
have
doing?
water, Gatorade, bananas, and we'll have base gels.
And then will you have ice available for dumping?
Yep, absolutely. We'll have ice, and again, we'll have those misting stations out there. So as many opportunities for athletes to cool off as possible.
Yeah, so a lot of great stuff. And all these maps that we pulled into the PowerPoint are coming right from the website. So you can already see the courses out there. I know TriDot has the GPX files. We've loaded that into RaceX. So we've got, that's what we're using to predict the speeds and everything. So they've got it all well mapped out. These guys spare no expense. They're doing it right. If you haven't been part of events, know that I guarantee you Bill Christie cares as much about every person racing as he does his family. And he'll be out there, right? So they're going to take care of it. They provide a world-class event. And I mean, we were talking about this as we came into this, and I'll queue up kind of the next part of this, but we're going to have thousands of athletes, the next generation of triathletes. We're going to have this merging. There's even a 1 mile swim, right? Are you still doing the swim?
Yep, 1 mile swim on Sunday morning as well. So it's easy for us operationally and timing wise. It's essentially a triathlete that just quits after the swim. So why not open that up and let some more people come out and take part in our events?
So you've got this is a great opportunity. Listen, we're a month out, and if you need some peer pressure, welcome to peer pressure. Let's do this. Come out and join us. You can get in a duathlon. Maybe you're not up to speed right now. You're not feeling it. You can get in there on a relay. You've got to be able to find a friend or two you can sucker into this. I mean, involve you in this. We'll be out there supporting our TriDot family, our TriDot athletes. If you have questions, to come out there. But this will be a fun time. Be you first or be you last. You'll get motivated for the rest of your triathlon season. It will fire you up in just something special way. But as we say that, Jeff, let's talk about maybe this is their first triathlon. They've been training, or it's like they're coming back after something. Let's talk through the mental space and what do we want them to remember as they're coming towards one of these classic Clash finish lines.
Yeah, just to slow down, enjoy it all. You've done so much work. You've thought about it. You've prepared. You've been there maybe since Wednesday, and now it's finally Sunday, and it's here. And there's the red carpet. It's coming up. So I would slow down, and unless you're in it to win it, or but enjoy that carpet. There's great music. You slow down as you're coming off that back stretch there. You can see in the background there. And is that West, Jason West? Who's
Jason
that
West,
finishing
yeah,
there?
he won the
Yeah.
event 2 years ago. I mean, we've had some just amazing finishes in Miami over the years. And this is just a great photo of the excitement of one of the top pros in the world. And I always think it's cool. We try to leverage that at our events to have some of the best professionals there, and then age group athletes that get to race in the same venue on the same weekend. And this year is no different.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah,
Now,
it's easy to get caught up in that monotony of the run, especially if it's a little warm. But when you're coming off the track back there in the background, you have plenty of time to see that red carpet coming up, and you kind of veer off there to the left and you go to the finish. But look around, enjoy the music, and enjoy a well-deserved job well done there. So take it all in
it'll
and enjoy.
propel
So
you. I think there's magnets in the track or something, because every time I turn that last bend and I'm coming in, it seems to be effortless and weightless to cross that finish line. Enjoy it. Think of all the good memories, all the people who helped get you there, so that you can have a great time as you cross that, and already start your recovery so that it doesn't turn into some kind of injury. Support the next folks that'll happening. If you're part of the sprint, again, we got the Miami distance, still kind of a short day, so we won't be out till midnight or anything with that, but it'll be a great event and so many fun things happening. Well, Andre, this has always been a pleasure. Any final thoughts that you want to share? I know we're going to talk about some questions here in a minute, but and what we're going to do with that. But anything else? I mean, we've talked about so many things.
Yeah, and for me to pull out any one thing, but we have so many great triathlon sort of subcategories coming together on the weekend, between the age group racing, the energy that the collegiates are bringing, the para triathletes that'll be racing on Sunday. That's always an inspiration. And then the elites racing. There's literally something for everybody. You mentioned, Dan, that USA Triathlon's hosting Endurance Exchange on Wednesday, Thursday. So it's just all things triathlon happening in a small venue for a few amount of days. We got some great vendors in Expo. Don't miss it. Come out. It's a really great early season kickoff to feel the vibe, share the stoke, and just really plant a seed for what's going to be an amazing 2025 season.
Absolutely. And listen, I was talking to Andre before this. They slipped this out in the email so fresh this week that I couldn't even get a screenshot of it, but they dropped a new medal. So listen, if you need something to get you off the couch, you're thinking about doing it. If you're going to race with us in December at Daytona, you need to come to Miami, because the Florida double is a thing. Now, I twist Andre's arm before, so all of our college guys, if you race here in Miami as a collegiate athlete and you come back and race the sprint or middle distance in December, you're eligible for that medal too. So Florida double is on. The challenge and the gauntlet has been thrown. It's going to be a great time. Again, if you're one of our TriDot athletes, you should have already had a meeting with your coach, or if you want to have a conversation with Jeff or myself about getting yourself race ready, if you want to go over any of those tips, our TriDot athletes, they've given us a code and a discount. We'll be happy to share that with you. And the times and places we're doing some community stuff, but we are going to answer some questions. Now, we can't do it on this format because we've been at this for quite a while. So we will save up our questions and let's do it on Instagram this time. We've done it on Facebook before, but we're going to get on the Instagram socials. They're going to hook us up on that. Andre and I are going to get a team of people to get us live, and we're going to go on the 4th at 7 p.m. and we'll do Q&A. If you want to send some in again ahead of time, email it to myself, email Clash, and we'll get a list of things going. We'll answer any additional questions that you have, and then we'll just get ready to race and have a great time supporting one another for another great event. We're so proud to help athletes succeed and find their success as triathletes, that they can trust the process and really enjoy those results at a special event like yours, Andre. We're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to seeing all of you there. And go find a friend, twist their arm. Let's get them in. Let's do this thing. We'll see you in just a month. I'll see you on the 4th. Have a great one, guys.
Thanks, guys.